We failed Gaza's children. Until now, join the global Sumud Flotilla. We failed them again. 500 brave people from across the world sailed for Gaza with nothing but human compassion and the tiny lifeline offered by ordinary people inside Gaza. They came with hope, not headlines, not weapons, not politics, and a simple belief that people help people. Instead of welcome, they found cages. Instead of gratitude, they found detention and deportation. The message that should have been heard around the globe, that Gaza is a humanitarian crisis demanding immediate aid and dignity, was met with force. This is not a defeat. It is a revelation. Those 500 showed the world something vital. The fortress built by power and fear is not unbreakable. Courage traveled on small boats and confronted a siege. It frightened the very system that pretends strength is measured by walls and checkpoints. Imagine what 10,000 people could do, not with violence, but with an unshakable, visible mass of humanity. Imagine a flotilla of medicine, food, volunteers, and witnesses so vast that the world cannot pretend not to see. Why the flotilla matters. The global Sumud Flotilla is more than a protest. It is a moral intervention. It is a test of conscience for governments, institutions, and citizens worldwide. When official channels fail, when aid is politicized or blocked, the moral responsibility to human life does not evaporate, it demands action. The flotilla is a defiant statement that says, Gaza's children deserve food, medicine, and safety. Solidarity is not a hashtag, it is a commitment to stand where the suffering is greatest. Nonviolent mass mobilization exposes injustice and forces the world's decision-makers to choose, side with dignity or side with silence. Courage outruns cages. Yes, they were detained. Yes, they were deported. But each act of repression is also an admission of weakness. If activists arriving with nothing more than compassion are treated as enemies, what does that say about the legitimacy of the siege? Repression betrays fear, and fear can be answered with courage. The deported activists who raised their voices the moment they landed proved that walls do not muffle truth. Their resilience was louder than any barred door. This is not about war, it's about humanity. Make no mistake, this mission is not about escalation. It is about delivering aid, witnessing truth, providing international protection to civilians, and breaking the silence. It is civil, public, courageous, and nonviolent. It is the global community stepping forward when institutions fail to act. If we speak of breaking the siege, let us be crystal clear. We mean breaking the blockade of indifference. We mean opening humanitarian corridors, delivering life-saving supplies, and showing the world that ordinary people refuse to watch children starve. What 10,000 people could do. A flotilla of 10,000 would be staggering in its moral force. It would flood international attention with undeniable human presence. Make it politically impossible for governments and media to ignore the humanitarian reality. Provide a logistical backbone for aid delivered in coordination with recognized NGOs and medical teams. Offer international witnesses to ensure safety for civilians and ensure accountability. That is not hyperbole. That is the power of mass, peaceful solidarity. A call, not a threat. We will not call for violence. We call for organized, lawful, nonviolent solidarity. We call on people of conscience to join recognized humanitarian missions, to volunteer with reputable organizations, to donate, to lobby their governments, to pressure embassies, and to bear witness. If you have the capacity to go, seek out established, transparent groups organizing humanitarian aid and international accompaniment. Join with training, with clear nonviolent commitments, and with coordination so your presence protects, rather than jeopardizes, those you came to help. The siege continues. Our duty does too. The government that enforces a siege survives because we permit it through silence and inaction. Change the arithmetic. Make inaction costlier than taking a stand. The louder the embassies hear our voices, the faster detainees are released. The louder the world watches, the harder it becomes for injustice to hide. We cannot undo the suffering that already happened, but we can decide what comes next. We can turn failure into resolve. We can move from remorse to action. See you in Gaza. with food, medicine, and freedom. Next time, we will bring more than hope. We will bring medicines, food, medical teams, legal observers, and the most unassailable thing any oppressed people can receive, the world's visible, organized solidarity. Bring your courage. Bring your conscience. Bring your willingness to stand non-violently in defense of life. If you cannot sail, raise your voice. Pressure officials, donate to verified relief efforts, amplify the testimony of witnesses, and demand humanitarian corridors now. We failed them before. We will not fail them again. Join the global Sumud Flotilla, not to fight, but to show that humanity will not be silenced.